Howdy, this is OldR. We originally recorded this episode months prior to you hearing it, so at the time, we assumed we were going to be on schedule and have the Ladies Code episodes come out before it. Due to unexpected circumstances that I'll explain at another time, the release of those episodes are postponed to a future season. I wanted to give this disclaimer as the intro min recorded in the past will be confusing otherwise. Sorry for the confusion, enjoy the episode. This is K-Pop Sunday, brought to you by your K-Pop Sunbase before you have to go back to work on Monday. We are your hosts, OldR,
Min,
Serin,
and JR.
Hello, and welcome back to our podcast. During the second part of our Ladies Code Deep Dive series, we brought up their 2016 song, The Rain. And today we wanted to elaborate on that theme, as there are many songs to do with the rain, and a myriad of different vibes and aesthetics. So, JR, why don't you start us off and take us to the weather?
So, when we had decided on this topic, the first song that came to mind was Pentagon's Shower of Rain, which was a B-side from their 2020 album entitled Universe, The Black Hall. This song was also their follow-up promotional song, and they performed it on various music shows following the conclusion of Dr. Bebe, the title track, after those promotions had concluded. Now, Dr. Bebe had a pretty dark concept in both lyrical themes and music video visuals. It's essentially about being trapped in a cycle of love, fall, hurt, crazy over and over again. And with that comes a lot of mental hospital imagery and chains and blindfolds. You know, the usual run-of-the-mill stuff for a K-pop song that has topics like that, right? That song was super electric and had a lot of pounding beats. And all that being said, you'll notice that this is a complete 180 from the pointedly brighter sound of Shower of Rain. There's no music video for this track, but the clothing choices for these stages are much brighter. So that's a little bit of like a comparison between the two, even though there aren't any like official visuals for it. While the song sounds lighter and the visuals are brighter, the song isn't entirely happy. It's about a couple that fights often, but they still love each other quite deeply. The rain in this song is used as like a cleansing force with lines like, quote, rain shower, take a rain shower, erase the tears, unquote. But it's also the age-old trope of using rain to mask the fact that you are crying. A little bit of like classic themes being drawn out in that way. This one is kind of your general pop track. But for my next one, I'll be switching it up a little bit and veering away from your more like traditional pop music into something a little bit different. But before that, Serin, please tell us your first pick.
Okay, guys, so I have to confess I had a very tough time narrowing down my list to 2 songs. So I decided to stick to the songs that were recorded by my 2 biases, so that is Younha and Block B. But choosing a song by Younha itself was another challenge because she has so many songs about rain. So a little side note is that she did her basically fortune-telling readings in Korea once and said that she lacked the energy of water, so to say. She's trying to like balance that out by releasing more songs that are related to water in some way. So that's probably why a lot of her songs revolve around the themes of rain. So far, I've counted 10 tracks, including 2 interludes and 2 Japanese songs with the keyword rain in the title or the lyrics. And then there were 2 songs with the keyword rainbow, which is not exactly the rain or water, but it kind of connects. And there were 3 songs with the keyword umbrella, 1 song referencing rain as part of the water cycle, 1 cover song which has rain mentioned in the lyrics, and 2 songs by Epicai, which she was featured on. Well, Epicai presented Younha with her own versions of each song, which I counted in the first category. And on one of the Epicai songs, she is not credited, but still. Anyway, I settled on Pisori, which translates to Sound of Rain. It's the 7th track of her second studio album, Sundae, released in 2008. For a quick insight, the song is preceded with a 31-second interlude titled Rain on the Bar. This interlude starts with the sound of rain, a motorcycle driving through a busy street, and footsteps as someone enters a busy jazz bar. Upon entering, you'll hear someone, who is obviously Younha, clearing her throat as the live band gears up for their performance. The short segment ends with a male voice counting 3, 4 as the tracklist switches to Sound of Rain. So the song itself, Sound of Rain, is a very soothing, kind of jazzy song accentuated by Younha's delicate vocals and jazz pianist Song Youngju's piano session. The lyrics are about the protagonist walking down the rainy streets with her crush or romantic partner, sharing one umbrella. The rain here acts as a sort of medium to relay the protagonist's affection, chiding her to kiss his lips, lean on his shoulder, and then the chorus continues. So I translated a bit of the lyrics. This sound of rain is telling me to hold my breath and speak up with courage, love you, love you. And the song ends with him kissing her on the cheek as the rain keeps falling. So it's very romantic. Sound of Rain is easily one of my most favorite B-sides from this album, by the way, because first, it's very easy to listen to even if you don't understand the lyrics. It's perfect to listen to on a rainy day when you just want to sit back and maybe have a cup of tea. Also be suitable for the relaxing ambience of a cafe, a fancy restaurant, or even a bar. And the second reason I like it is because, well, Younha does a variety of music genres and music themes. And the thing is, I tend to favor her upbeat, rock or dance, more exciting songs. But although this song is a bit more slow-paced and more calm, it's actually quite mesmerizing in a sense. If someone who doesn't like slow ballad, blah 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 songs because she usually finds it boring, this song is a huge achievement because anyone could fall in love with this particular track. So moving on, it's Min's turn to share her favorite songs about rain.
I am not very eloquent when it comes to describing music, so just bear with me. But songs with the theme of rain typically have a melancholy feel to them, and that often manifests in ballads, which famously is a genre I don't really vibe with at all. So I struggled a little bit with finding songs for this episode, even giving the large number of rain-related songs out there.
Girls, same. We both hate ballad, and then there are so many ballad songs with the theme of rain. So
it was rough. But my savior of the day is Heize. She has released multiple rain-related tracks, like You Clouds Rain or On Rainy Days. But my favorite one comes from her 2019 album She's Fine, with the track Umbrella Calls for Rain, featuring Nafla. Umbrella Calls for Rain continues the theme of jazzy piano songs, although this one is a little bit more upbeat than Serin's pick was, maybe. Heize is incredible at mixing R&B with smooth jazz elements, and Nafla's rap blends beautifully into this piece, making for an incredibly smooth listen. So if you've enjoyed Heize's single Chungha previously, then Umbrella Calls for Rain is definitely worth a listen, and I think you'll like it. Comments, questions?
I just like this style from her. I think it's very chill, but it's not boring, and that's what I've always liked about her since July.
Yeah, I really appreciate that because ballads are a struggle. Anyway, OldR, how about you? What's your first song of the day?
My first song is Rainy Day from the show The Call. It's sung by Wheesung, also known as Real Slow, Taeil from Block B, and Chungha. It came out in 2018 and was part of The Call's soundtrack for the second project.
Can I just say that this was one of the songs I might have picked, but you beat me to it?
When we were talking about rain songs like this, and then the song from Ladies Code were the first two songs that came in my head, and I'm like, I have to get them first.
Oh my gosh. To be honest, I really enjoy some of the songs. It's such a shame that it didn't get much traction. Also, I got to see Wheesung sing it live. I went to his concert and he sang it, and then there was Chungha on the video footage on the screen. It was a really good performance. After the performance, he just had to say that he wanted to bring Taeil and Chungha over as guests, but coincidentally, Taeil had a solo concert going on right around the same time. Then Chungha was too busy, so he just had to make do with Chungha's video on the screen. I know. I mean, it would have been so fun if both of them were able to be there as guests, but we never got it.
I am
we
so
never
jealous
got the
that you got
collabo.
to see him in person. He is one of the few artists from 2003 that today I would still love to see them in concert. He's one of those artists that I've held a torch for all these years where it's like, if I ever have the opportunity to see him live, I don't care what he's singing, I will go. Like, he's one of those. He's in that category for me. So now that I'm jealous of Serin, getting back to this song, the lyrics are about being dumped and the imagery of rain is used to emphasize the sadness of the song. Along with the instrumental, it starts with the sound of a storm and sorrowful whistling. In my opinion, it's a good blend of voices and music. I didn't watch the show this comes from, and I found it on Pandora a few years back. I'm a fan of all these artists individually, so I was thrilled to hear them all sing together. Wheesung did the lyrics and composition for this song, so if you're a fan of his but haven't heard this yet, you'll probably enjoy it. Taeil's voice in this song is full of emotion, and that really sells the message of the song, in my opinion, and that's also the reason why he's my Block B bias. And of course, Chungha delivered a great performance. We expect that of her. She always delivers. It's grand. Seeing idols from different generations and backgrounds coming together for a song like this was a real treat for me, especially considering who it was. It was like, all my favorites in one song. Excellent. Well, some of my favorites. I have many favorites, as everyone knows. I didn't expect this to happen, but I'm glad this collab and Rainy Day exists.
So if you want to hear like a few other songs from this project, The Call, well, I only listen to some of the artists. Like, I listen to the Wheesung songs, I listen to the Taeil songs, and so for Wheesung, he also did like one song with Hwang Chi-er, and then another with Hwani, Light to the Sky. And Taeil also did a song with Hwani. That one, I think you'll enjoy it, OldR. It's titled Fever in English or 열병 in Korean, and Taeil is kind of like Brian, but like, I don't know, softer, more idolish, but their voices actually kind of merge well together.
Taeil is one of those artists who you'd be surprised who he works well with. He's one of those where it's like, and him?
I know, yeah. Well, he's never gonna replace Brian completely. I mean, Hwani goes with Brian and vice versa. But he has the perfect vocals to kind of balance out Hwani's like strong vibrato, melisma, etc., etc. And you might not know, but Taeil was a protege of one of the most famous rock singers of Korea. He does kind of like have the rock high notes as well. If Taeil ever gets to do like a high note, I kind of picture him doing like one of those heavy metal kind of stuff as well. Like, it's a wacky imagination, but still. And then Wheesung's song with Hwani, Moonlight Blues, is a bit more a 90s inspired slow jam, like, or neo soul type. And then, oh right, Taeil also did a song with Kim Jung-kook, more ballad. He also did a song with Ailey and BY, Duty Free, and that song is a little bit more danceable. They had a ton of like artists from different backgrounds and different careers as well. Like, there was Shin Seung-hoon, there was Gummy, and there was also Musi of UV. Those are the ones I remember. It was a massive project, so I just had to say that show was underrated. Everyone needs to check it out because some of the clips are on YouTube, by the way.
And I think, now that you're talking about it, I think the reason why I'm so partial to Wheesung being in this collab is that I love how he acts whenever he's included in a group. Like, when he was performing with Seven, he was so hyped to have someone by his side. And considering as he started as an idol group member, I think that he kind of wishes that he kept, even if like that
A4
group wasn't really like his thing, I think he kind of wishes that he got, you know, like a permanent group like that.
Yeah, I think he felt kind of lonely and he just wanted someone to like perform with.
There's a couple of those solo artists who, like, anytime they get a chance to do a collab or be in a group, they are just so excited.
Just like Boa.
Yeah, I was about to say that, yeah.
Just like Boa. She looks so overjoyed to be like in
Got the Beat?
Yeah, Got the Beat. So I mean, she's been a solo for so many years, and she was always like talking about how lonely she felt when she was promoting in Japan alone, and being on Got the Beat was sort of like his dreams come true.
Well, I mean, considering that she was supposed to debut in a duo, like, it also makes sense. But I think if she had like a Girls' Generation number of members, I think she would have loved that. But just like seeing her interact, she likes big groups. But before we get carried away, JR, why don't you tell us about your next song?
JR, your next pick was also on... I almost chose this song. So good. Please go.
Yeah, I added it to my favorites of the year list.
It didn't come out this year.
Everyone liked
2017?
Yeah,
No,
it's
but
real good.
I have a list of songs that I discover in every year.
Guys, you know what? I almost chose "Dancer in the Rain" by Chungha too, but I wasn't gonna steal the Chungha thing for again because like
No,
just
you're
to
fine.
just
I
out of
don't own
respect
them.
for JR. Sorry, but
Oh, you're so funny. No, it's completely fine.
I just had a feel like I thought you would be choosing them because like you worked on their episode.
I'm not gonna lie, as far as groups I've worked on before, they had I didn't like as much of their music as I thought I would. And that has nothing to do with the girls. I love their voices. I just a lot of the direction that SM decided to go with them, I did not enjoy. So
True.
yeah. So I picked Dancing in the Rain by Rad Museum as my second pick. And I was so happy to pick this one because I was certain I had talked at length about this song already, but I looked through our scripts and I had just mentioned the song, literally just a sentence in passing in some other episode we'd done. So I was like, yes, I have the ability to talk about it. It's off of his debut EP called Scene, and it's an alternative hip-hop album that has a truly star-studded list of features, including Dean, Punchnello, and Miso. This song in particular, when you look it up on YouTube and like watch the YouTube video, says that it's featuring Jusin, who now goes by Malden. Initially, I thought that it was a production feature because when you look up this artist, he has producer, singer-songwriter, musician, composer. He has like a lot of names, but his voice is not on the track. But he's actually credited as playing the guitar in the description box. I don't think this is the case for the album release of the track because he's not written as a feature on the track listing, but I just thought I'd throw that out there in case anyone's wondering about that. That being said, the guitar is really one of the biggest standouts on this song. It's super mellow and feels like a song that you should be listening to on a rainy day. It's kind of slow and easy and just mellow, like I said. One other thing I like about it is that it utilizes the sound of rain in the background of the track, and it really adds, I feel like, to the ambiance. The video linked is a quote-unquote live session, and it shows Rad Museum and Jusin at the time in a warehouse. Jusin is sitting down playing the guitar, and Rad Museum is standing in front of a microphone. Different angles are interspersed throughout, as well as clips of people running and aerial footage of buildings, and I think there's like a car that's on fire at one point. Also, I feel like I need to give a little bit of a disclaimer because Rad Museum is wearing locks. And I don't know what the thought process behind that at the time was, but he does not wear his hair like that anymore. So keep that in mind.
Unfortunate.
It was a decision.
I'm sorry, guys, because like this cultural appropriation thing is a really huge issue. Like when Korean music crosses over to international communities, I have no say in what they're doing.
I think Red Museum has naturally very curly hair, though.
See,
not like
okay, I thought that as well. However, I did see multiple people say he perms it to look that way. It's not his natural hair texture. Because right now, I think he does have like
some Korean people do have curly hair, but
right. But I don't know if that's true. If it is permed, it's really hard to find articles on this guy. No less, I didn't look specifically for his hair.
There are some Korean people who have naturally curly hair, but sometimes it's not that evident because in Korea, we have the contrary. Like, we have curly hair people who try to straighten their hairs. Like, for example, Ki-kwang of Beast/Highlight. His hair is really, really curly. And also, Kim Soo-yeon also has naturally curly hair. But they keep a straight perm all the time, so people just assume they have straight hair just like other Korean guys.
Yeah.
Like, here in Korea, I don't know if you guys know, but, like, if you go to middle school and high school here in Korea, a lot of the teachers, like, do this kind of inspections for how you're dressed and stuff. Like, usually the things they pick out is whether you're wearing your uniform correctly. For example, is your jacket missing? Is your cardigan missing? Is your tie on correctly? And stuff like that. But they also check for, hair, makeup, and jewelry. When it comes to hair, these things that usually become an issue is perms, like those hair streaks in your hair, like because, you get like highlights, bleaches, you name it. There are actually some examples where kids with naturally brownish hair or naturally curly hair get picked out and get scolded because the teachers think they got a perm or a hair dye.
That's wild. The locks?
Mm-hmm.
A no-go. But his current hairstyle, I think, is, that's fine. But I did just want to mention it because it is large and in charge in this in this video. Getting back to the song itself, as far as lyrics go, it's a song about a couple dancing in the rain, which, it might be a euphemism for something else, but you can read them and decide that for yourself, Songs are up to interpretation. But also, I just want to say, I miss bridges in songs so much. It is a lost art form to have a bridge in a song. And when a song is under 3 minutes long, the bridge is the first that gets cut, But this one has a really nice bridge, and it fits really well into the song as a whole, and it's just a nice break from kind of, the whole, verses typically sound the same as verses, choruses sound the same as choruses, but the bridge is usually the place where you kind of break from the similarity that has been shown throughout the rest of the song, and they do something a little bit different. And I miss that, and I think this song does that really well. So if you miss bridges, listen to this song.
It's such a good song.
I'm so glad everyone here
too
loves
many
it.
songs are less than 3 minutes long now. So.
But yeah, after this EP, he didn't actually release any more music till 2020, and I was super excited for that release. I want to say it was Sync, but I might be wrong, so don't hold me to that. That being said, I didn't especially like it, and since then I have fallen off the Rad Museum train, but in doing research for this episode, I saw that he's actually released quite a bit more music following that 2020 release, so I'll be looking into those albums and singles soon. Because I really loved Scene. All the songs on that album are really beautiful. And like I said, it has some really great features. So yeah, now that my second pick is out of the way, Serin, please give us your last pick, please.
Thank you. So my second song was chosen among the discography of my ultimate favorite boy group, Block B. As you guys may know, I am a huge fan of Block B. I am a proud BBC. By the way, the BBC here means Block B Club, and that's our fandom name. Fortunately, Block B had much fewer songs related to rain, and the only other song with the exact word rain in the title is Make It Rain by Block B Stars, their unit. And the song isn't exactly about the weather. The phrase Make It Rain refers to money. So it easily boiled down to Walkin' in the Rain. Walking in the Rain is included in their 5th EP, Blooming Period, that was released in 2016. So if you guys are a diehard BBC like me, you will immediately recognize that this track was produced by one of the rappers of the group, Park Young. And if you're familiar with the songs he produced, you will easily detect how Kyung-coded this track is. It's slightly more bubbly, it's more on the melodic side. It's not as somber or serious or as bass heavy as Zico's productions. So when I first heard it, it faintly reminded me of this other throwback song I used to listen to a lot in childhood. And you guys might know it, maybe you not, but the song is Officially Missing You by Taeil, the Canadian singer. So, Officially Missing You coincidentally starts with the lyrics, all I hear is raindrops falling on the rooftop. And as you keep listening to it, the vibe and somehow the melody kind of sounds familiar. So, Walking in the Rain to me sounded very contemporary, but at the same time somewhat nostalgic. Unlike the romantic tension you can see on The Sound of Rain by Younha, the lyrics to Walking in the Rain is from the perspective of a man who is struggling to maintain composure after his breakup, and he's yearning for her to return to him. The lyrical content is a stark contrast to the sentimental, almost gleeful melody. Here, the rain is not only an element that makes him look more forlorn, but it's also a symbol that represents his tears and pain. I think I should add a link to the script later, but there was this one time they sing this on this other YouTube content, And like the members are just like in this kind of tiny room and like holding up umbrellas and just singing the song live. I know the lyrics are like more on the gloomy, depressing side, but the members have so much fun singing along and like goofing around. So it was a fun moment. It's a fun moment to watch, and I highly recommend watching that video if you want to see more live performances. Unfortunately, they didn't really get to sing this song on like Music Bank or all those music shows that often, but like if you look closely, you will find a few performances of them singing this live. Okay, so Min, what is your second song of this episode?
So, knowing me, I had to pick a song that isn't necessarily, like, completely on the topic's general vibe, but it has rain in the title. And I was highly contemplating choosing Make It Rain, but I didn't. So I chose JinSoul's Singing in the Rain of LOONA. It's from 2017. We gotta go back in time a little bit here, dudes. LOONA's name basically translates to Girl of the Month, so naturally, before the group's official group debut, each individual member was said to have a solo, single debut-ish each month up until the full group was released. And this was back in 2016. Interesting marketing strategy. They got some very loyal fans out of it, so they got that for what it's worth anyway. And through this Girl of the Month endeavor, we came to the 7th release, being Singing in the Rain by JinSoul, which is a future-based dance song that still has like a chill, almost melancholic-y vibe, but you can dance to it. I just really like dance music. I'm easy to please in that aspect. It's a good song. I feel like I'm repeating myself a little bit here, so I won't go too deep into this part of it, but when I looked a little bit more into the song, I found that the music production is very Swedish. A lot of music just ends up in Scandinavia for some reason. And again, I feel like I've talked about this before, but it's just so fascinating how widespread and global the music industry is, and for all of the bits and pieces of a musical piece that might be released in Korea has traces of people from the Scandinavias, very many Swedes, or artists in America, artists all over the planet, to make one thing on the other side of the world. I don't know, it's fascinating, very cool. Go listen to Singing in the Rain. OldR, what will you close out this episode with?
In my opinion, it wouldn't be right to do an episode about Rain songs without mentioning the man himself, Rain. Rain's real name is Jung Ji-hoon. When he had his solo debut in 2002, he was the first of 3 artists at JYP Entertainment that year to debut with a short name and a similar theme relating to nature. The other 2 were Pyeol, which means star, and Noel, which means sunset. On Namuwiki and Naver, fans wrote that he was called Rain because he, quote, wants to fall like rain next to everyone, unquote. But for me, the jury is still out on whether or not this reminds me more of Let the Bodies Hit the Floor or It's Raining Men. I'm not sure. Regardless, that is something for our listeners to argue over.
From what I've read, basically it means that like rain falls equally on everyone. So he's saying that he wants his music to reach everyone, just like rain.
See, now you worded it better than what everyone else was doing. Where were you in 2002?
And yeah, it also means like he wants to impress people with his music. Like he wants to impress that much people with his music.
I like that explanation better than what I read.
And to, like in Korean, so the funny thing is that when we say like we get sentimental, the term we use is get wet with sentiment, or like maybe like soaked in sentiment. Like that's the literal translation of one phrase to say like how sentimental you're getting. And maybe that wet/soaking part is kind of like a reference to rain or water. Like that's just my guess, but that's kind of like the imagery I'm getting when he says that. I don't know if this makes sense because, like, it's a direct translation.
Yeah, I think that's the problem. Still. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to find any old interviews or profiles to back it up. So even though it sounds legit for the time period, because there's a lot of that kind of language going on back then, take it with a grain of salt. Although, again, I do agree with it. I think it's real. However, unlike other certain artists we will not name and shame here, Rain has taken advantage of referencing his name in his music. He's released hit songs such as It's Raining in 2004 and Rainism in 2008, and has been associated with imagery relating to a stage name. I'm partial to It's Raining in particular because I remember the visuals from the music video for it better than most of his other work. I think the truck at the beginning being flanked by motorcycles is cool, and I like his stage outfit. But I also think it sticks with me because it might have been the first time I saw a singer performing while being rained on. I think it's one of my favorite songs of his because I've always enjoyed the cohesive theming. If you've only known Rain for his later work, I recommend you check out his early solo work, particularly It's Raining and 알면서.
Your choice was actually, is very spot on because, the name Rain fits, the song title having the word rain also fits, everything fits. I'm actually kind of surprised that you chose this song in particular. Well, I didn't actually grow up listening to it because it was released in 2004 and I was in the US back then, but I still got to listen to it a lot, when I returned. Because, he's, it's already become his signature song, and, OldR, you know about this, but Rain's concert back in 2006, 7-ish, that was, the first concert I've ever been to, and of course he had to sing it, and that was one of the first moments that, made me realize how powerful it must be for an artist to be able to impress the whole crowd with his music, his performances. I think It's Raining is one of the best songs that showcase what he's good at.
Yeah, he was really hitting his stride with that. And also, that came out a year after, it was the same year as which was from his second album, which I have a love-hate relationship with. It introduced me to Sungdu, but also there's a lot of songs that are really bad on it. But it did, however, make him stand out, and it got me to listen to him. So great marketing from JYP back then.
To wrap us up, there are a lot of songs that are either about rain or the imagery of this weather phenomenon. While we only listed our favorites in this episode, if you look at our script, we have included a long list of other rain songs at the end of it, and we hope you take a look and find a new favorite. We also made a Spotify playlist with all of the songs that we talked about today, where there will be a link in the episode notes if you want to listen to all that we talked about. But that's it for today. JR, take it away.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed the episode, then please make sure to rate, subscribe, follow, and tell your friends about us. If you want to interact with us or just see more of our content, then you can follow the links in the description to our website, social media platforms, and Ko-fi. Also, don't forget that our next episode comes out on October 27th, 2024. Thanks everyone. Bye.
Bye.
다음에 봐요.
안녕.